Welcome to another edition of Politics Done Right. I'm Egberto Willies, your host. Today we are honored to have once again, Lizz Winstead, let me tell you, you know who this woman is. She's actually the creator of, what again?
The Daily Show.
The Daily Show. But she's here on a special mission. Lizz Winstead, how are you doing today? I am doing great. Now, I know you are a woman that wears 1,000 hats.
I don't.
But today we're going to talk about Abortion Action Front.
Access.
I mean, forgive.
Okay.
What's wrong with me?
It's fine. We'll do action.
Abortion Access Front.
Yeah.
First of all, tell me a little bit about your organization.
So we are a reproductive rights organization that tries to raise awareness about what's happening with abortion access. We try to help clinics who need support. We try to help funds who are helping people access the care they need. And we try to get bad guys who are outside of the clinics or invading the clinics, bringing them to justice. So we do a whole bunch of different things. And we have an incredible podcast called Feminist Buzzkills. It's a weekly podcast that drops every Friday.
What's the name again?
Feminist Buzzkills.
There you go.
And in that podcast, we interview providers and abortion researchers and lawyers and talk about all of the big news surrounding abortion and reproductive rights right now, because it is, it's the number one issue everyone's talking about. It doesn't get enough airtime, and so we wanted to do a really deep, rich dive podcast every week into all the news surrounding it, what people can do to help, give them calls to action, etc.
I mean, that is so important. Now, we took a very huge hit with the Supreme Court taking away your rights.
Yeah.
And the reality is, as your rights are lost, mine are as well, because it takes two to tango.
That's right.
So when they think that it's just women's rights they're taking away everybody's rights.
That's exactly correct.
Tell me a little bit about that.
So, when we think about abortion access being stripped away by the Supreme Court, we think about whose humanity that also strips away, right?
Right.
It strips away the humanity of women. It strips away the humanity of anybody who can access abortion care. It strips away the humanity of men and women and couples who are deciding what's best for their families together. It's taking away the rights of people to have pleasurable sex. Making pregnancy be a consequence.
Right.
Is devaluing families.
Right.
It's devaluing pregnancies. It's devaluing sexual joy as a thing that we should all be able to have access to without government interference.
I mean, they don't belong there. And you know what? Something that a lot of people don't even think about? It's an economic issue as well.
What's so hilarious is when I hear people on the right say, people don't want to focus on abortion, they want to focus on economic issues. And I was like, find me an issue with more economic ties than deciding whether or not you are going to parent.
Mm-hmm.
When you hear, I am not a parent.
Right.
When I hear what it costs to parent, it is the number one thing people consider.
Right.
Right? When they consider abortion, when they consider having kids, they look at their economic landscape and decide. So it is one of the number one things people think about. So to try to separate them out, it's a tactic on the conservative side because it doesn't make any sense at all.
And the funny thing about it, Liz, is guess what? Republican women, right-wing women have abortions too, and not only that, they have the proclivity to the same kind of behaviors that everybody has.
Yes. Exactly.
So you sit down and wonder what the hell are they really thinking about when they're doing this? Is it women's control? I earlier told you that while everybody is going to freak out about losing in November, I am still of the opinion that we have the pathway to a landslide. And people look at me all the time as like, are you nuts? And my thing is, I have faith in, people say, well, you have faith in women. Yes, you have faith, but it's not about women only, it's about men. It's about men who care about women,
Yeah.
right? And when you add women plus men who care about women, I don't know, I was fairly good at math, and it seemed to me like it should be a landslide.
Well, I'm hoping you are right, because I look at this landscape and it's what's at stake for the humanity of all of us
Yes.
is really, really great. And I think to your point, Republican women understand, the statistic is 1 in 4 women will have had an abortion during their reproductive
Right.
lifetime. That just ain't Democratic, progressive. That's women,
all
right?
women.
And so I think we all just also have to fundamentally understand that if people are profoundly against abortion, they are either, if it's a woman who's profoundly against
Right.
abortion, she is profoundly benefiting from white supremacy and from what patriarchy gives her.
Right.
And for men, if a woman is emancipated and controls her own fertility,
Right.
that shakes the foundation of patriarchy completely.
Exactly.
And so people who don't want to share power are going
Right.
to do everything in their power to
Right.
make sure that there will not be new people challenging their mediocrity, asking for a different kind of structure that invites all to be involved in it, and they're doing their damnedest to
Right.
make sure that all avenues to that are gone.
I don't think I've heard it said so plainly. I mean, first of all, mapping it from patriarchy to power, from power to patriarchy to control. I mean, that is what we're talking about. And I think it is so important for people to articulate that. I think it's also important for people to make it clear that this issue will actually materially affect them, because a lot of people talk about these issues in the abstract. And when you speak about these issues in the abstract, you don't necessarily feel that it affects you. And since you have an ideology, a right-wing ideology, a Republican ideology, you just give the vote, not realizing that in giving the vote, you could be harming your own personal economy.
Yeah, and you don't develop the compassion.
Right.
And now we've seen in Texas with these women who had wanted pregnancies, who all of a sudden their pregnancies took a terrible turn and they had to access abortion care and had to flee the state. Those women are, and then IVF, it's like you can't escape it. Your money can't escape it. Your privilege can't escape it. If you live in Texas and have all the money in the world, you still have to fly somewhere,
To get
go
it.
somewhere. It's affecting all of us now. And if they're saying IVF, no, it's wild. And the double whammy of it is, if you are forcing doctors to deny a care of an abortion, of a pregnancy that will possibly harm the fertility of somebody, that means then if IVF is their only option, then you're stealing their ability to parent.
Yes.
Stealing it.
Yes. I mean, it is pathetic. And the thing about it, though, is, again, I think the work that you're doing with abortion access front, I'm getting it right now,
You got it right.
abortion access front, I think it's so important, right? And I think the narrative also is going to be very important. I think it's going to be very important for you all to let right-wing women understand this hurts you in more ways than one. One, if we get an unwanted pregnancy and we have kids out there that weren't wanted, that also affects you, because those are tomorrow's criminals. Those are tomorrow's welfare recipients. Those are tomorrow's, all of these things that comes from a woman, a man having a kid that they knew they couldn't afford and then have to make a ward of the state. So this doesn't only affect the people that you think it's affecting, it affects you.
Right. And conversely, if we want to talk about reproductive justice in a larger sense, and you're against abortion,
Right.
There's a lot of people who would like to have those kids
Right.
if they had programs that help them. So if
Exactly.
we want to be a country that says that we value all pregnancy outcomes,
Right.
then we should be funding programs where somebody who doesn't have a lot of means
Right.
can have support for their kids, can get food, can get, our schools are good. Like, we want to create healthy families, period.
Right.
And however we can do that is what we should be striving for as a nation.
Well, you're doing important work. So before we go here, tell me a little bit about this documentary I know that you guys are working on.
Yeah, so there's a documentary that video crew has been following around the work of Abortion Access Front for the past 7 years. Following us on the road.
Everywhere you go.
Everywhere we went for 7 years. And it's called No One Asked You. It's in the festival circuits right now. And it really shows the work that we do, traveling around the country, supporting clinics, trying to raise awareness around what's happening. And it was unbelievable that these people followed us around for 7 years. But to watch the work in action, it really shows the person watching the documentary all the ways that they can get involved.
Right.
And that's the thing I think that's important, because people were taken by surprise when Roe v. Wade was overturned. They didn't know what to do. And we are providing all kinds of avenues with which people can take action. And it helps people check in with themselves about, like, here's how much time I can give.
Right.
And can you put that to good use? And it's like, yes, we can.
Yeah.
So you do a self-check on the capacity you have to take action. We'll make sure that we put you to work.
Where is this film being shown?
So it's being shown right now in the festival circuit, which means it just got released. It's moving from festival to festival, and then hopefully it will get picked up by a distributor.
Like Netflix or one of them?
Yeah, one of those will pick it up
Right.
after it goes through a series of being at the New York Film Festival. And so it's been doing all these film festivals. It's going to be in a couple. We've been to probably 25 festivals so far, and then hopefully we will land at a streaming service in early fall.
2 years ago, you were very concerned that what happened would happen. And I really didn't think the Supreme Court had the gall to do it. You were right. I couldn't believe that they did it. Now
it's the worst prediction I never wanted to be right on.
That
in my life.
Yeah. And the other thing is, but I do want to say that the work that you all are doing and all the people in this movement's doing, whether it be Kansas, whether it be everywhere that we put it on the ballot, you were able to prove that this isn't a Republican or Democratic issue.
Yes.
This is an issue.
It's an issue, and it's something people deeply care about. Because I think I would love people to just remember that these citizen-led ballot initiatives are exactly that.
Yes.
It wasn't politicians that created something. It was citizens
Right.
who said, I am fed up. I'm sure a lot of them did some internal looking and saying, I personally have had an abortion, or somebody in my life has. And it is time that I take steps. If the government's going to do this to me and the Supreme Court's going to do this to me, then I as a citizen have an avenue and a path to access care. Now, ballot initiatives are abandoned, right? We need to
legislation.
Make sure that we have a national access to abortion, not restoring Roe. Roe wasn't enough. Roe got us. We need to create legislation that gives every single person the unfettered access to the care that they need.
And you know what? We have the right folks working on it Lizz Winstead from Abortion Access
Brand.
There we go. Thank you so kindly for talking.
Thank you, sweetheart.
All right. Great. All right.
So good.
We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead. Number 1, subscribe to our channel. And number 2, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. We must populate the entire internet with our progressive message, a message that we know is what most Americans say that they want. So help us, please join.